G'day guys, Aaron here, and I'm joined with Jason from the Australian Hunting Podcast again. And today we have a very, very interesting topic. But before that, make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash that like button. We want to get this up to about 200 likes, this one. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon. All the links will be down below. Both Jason and I have other channels, and Jason has a really good podcast, well worth a listen to. So how's your week been, Jace?
Not too bad, mate. What's been going on? Hopefully I'm going to go on a bit of a rabbit hunt, not this weekend, maybe next weekend. So we'll see how that pans out. But looking forward to, shooting some rabbits at long range. Been very difficult at the moment because, trying to find places with the drought with actual rabbits on them and, with good amounts of numbers and good positions to be able to shoot them. It's been difficult. So, I'm looking forward to that. But most importantly, people are loving this new segment, mate. Tell them about the comments we've been receiving.
Yes, they are. We're getting a lot of comments. People loving this sort of a live stream sort of format each week, and they want to see more and more of it. So if you guys are liking it, we'll make more videos. Try and get one a week out for you. So it has been very good with all the positive comments. So if you have something you want us to talk about, send us the message through. You get hold of me on my email or through Facebook or Instagram. And if we got some information on it, we will definitely make a video on it. Or any topics, really. Just tell us what you like, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah,
and don't forget, Aaron, I wanted to mention one thing too, was when people have been sending us stuff in, they've been sending the appropriate sort of, documentation, evidence, emails, whatever it may be, send it to us. We don't tend to like to talk about stuff that we don't have any evidence for. So if you've got something to send in, send it in, because that just helps the cause and being able to discuss it. I guess without fear of being sued or anything like that, Aaron, as we don't want to get sued or anything. So, if you've got it, send it in with accompanying documentation. That way, we'll be able to share it. We'll take your name out. That just gives us something to go on and a bit more information when discussing it. But, what today's topic, mate?
Yeah, what I was going to say, we really can't put anything out unless we have some form of official evidence or a letter or something like that. Like some people just send us in stuff with just hearsay. And even though it could be true, we just can't report on that sort of stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so today's topic, old David Elliott from New South Wales, the police minister. He got sprung shooting a submachine gun, highly illegal, unlicensed shooter, and there is no permits, no way he could ever shoot that gun legally in the context he did. So he's down your way. What do you think of it, Jason?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? This guy's the police minister. I remember just less than probably a week ago, I wrote to him asking about the corruption in the police force with regarding these gel blasters after the RV Towner win, as we've been discussing it. And we've got an update video coming about that as well. So I emailed him about, corruption within the police force. Is this going to continue? Just a bunch of questions, because he's the police minister here in New South Wales. Yeah, we got a link on social media about David Elliott, the police minister, some years ago, I think, shooting someone saying it's a heckler and kosh. I'm not, up to speed on my prohibited firearms here in New South Wales. Now, the interesting part is he's not exempt from the Firearms Act. He's not a police officer. He's not a correctional officer. Obviously a lot of people are pushing this. They're very upset with the situation. As you'd know, Aaron, if we did that, there was photos of us doing that without the permit, we'd be drawn and quartered straight away.
Absolutely crucified.
Right now, we'd probably have charges already against us pending by now. We'd have to go and get a lawyer, And do I really have, per se, a problem, with what he did? Not really, because I think all shooters should be able to do this, get permits, be able to shoot these types of firearms without issue. Now, the problem being with him is that, with these stupid gun laws, he's been a very strong proponent of very strong gun laws. Now he finds himself at the peril of those exact same gun laws. Now he's blaming everybody else. And let me just read one thing, Aaron, very exciting. Now, he says in one of the articles, now this was from The Australian, he says, I believe there was a mistake of fact while I was on the range. So I'll await the advice of the investigation, Mr. Elliott replied. If corrections have done the wrong thing, well, then this needs to be rectified. It's not as simple as that. At the end of the day, you can't get, as far as I'm aware, a P650 form, which is a try-shooting form based on prohibited firearms. As far as I'm only aware, you can do it for Category A, Category B, and the Category H pistols when you want to go try to see if you actually like shooting. But again, I'm happy to be corrected on that. But as far as I'm aware, prohibited items, prohibited weapons, you can't get the permit for it. So there's no reason why he should have been handling this firearm. I've been receiving a number of emails from people, and they're not happy about the situation. I don't care that he did it, but I just want shooters to have access to the same situation, that he should be able to and shoot these guns. Why not? I mean, and again, the law's the law. Yeah, and now we've got to enforce the law. We can't have one rule for police officer or former police officer, former army officer, whatever he was, and we can't have one rule for the general community. Same saying, You've done the wrong thing, step up, charges need to be laid, and also charges need to be laid against the officer who gave him the gun at the range because he knew he had no permit to be able to shoot that, so he should be charged too. That would happen if me and you went shooting in New South Wales. You didn't have a gun license. I gave you a gun. You shot it. We got found out. You'd be charged, and I would be charged as well for giving you that firearm. So what do you think?
Yeah, well, I do think there needs to be a level playing field. Can't be one law for them, one law for us. That's definitely has to, time they enforce this sort of stuff. He can't just get off scot-free for this. He should step down, lose his job, lose his pension, lose everything, and convicted as the criminal that he really is, in my eyes. It's just he's done the wrong thing. You just can't plead ignorance because, as I say, ignorance is not a defence. So you just can't say, oh, no, I didn't know about any of this. The police officer didn't know anything about this. It's his job. The guy standing next to him, he should have known. So, yeah, definitely, I agree 100% with you. I have no problem with him shooting that gun, but as long as we can do it as well. No problem with him doing it at all. But he's done the wrong thing. He's blatantly flaunted the law, and it's time for him to pay the consequences. And another thing, I would like to know, what punishment is he going to get? A, he doesn't have a gun license, not even A, B, or H. They can't take that off him. You and me would lose our sport, lose our hobby, lose our guns, and lose a hell of a lot of money. Is this punishment just going to be a small fine that the taxpayers are finally going to end up forking the bill anyway? Or is he going to be properly prosecuted? From an article I got here that I'll be reading in a minute, he can be facing up to 14 years in prison. But this is not a light slap on the hand, you've driven 2 kilometres over the speed limit stuff. This is up to 14 years in prison.
Yeah, I can understand, shooters are getting upset saying, really, what's the big deal? And I get that. But I mean, if shooters were doing this exact same thing, like I said just a bit earlier, we'd already be in some absolutely serious trouble right now. So he's not going to get off just because it's, quote unquote, not a big deal. And people that think that somehow because David Elliott has fallen foul of the law, that somehow tomorrow or next week he's going to somehow change that law to make it easier for shooters. I mean, come on, guys, you're just kidding yourself if you think David Elliott, who's been very strong on guns, is going to do anything other than try and weasel his way out of it. Now, the question is some sort of magical document that's been manufactured just going to pop up on the internet somewhere or from somewhere where he's had approval and all this gets, swept under the carpet? I mean, I couldn't possibly tell you, but you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. But, if that happens, all I can consider that is just absolute corruption. There's no other way to say it.
Well, I don't think there will be because they've said that there's been no permits, no paperwork. They've admitted that he's done the wrong thing. So if a document does show up, geez, that just digs himself into a bigger hole, doesn't it?
Yeah, I want to find out.
If there was, it would be out now.
Yeah, I want to find out. And if anyone knows out there, let us know in the comments when this video goes live. Is there a prohibited weapons permit he can get? Because he's not an active police officer. He's not an active correctional service officer. So therefore, he's not exempt under the law. Now, I know a person, and they'll remain nameless, but I'll say his name's Brett. He's been onto the LECC, which is the Law Enforcement Conduct Commission, and made a report. So he's kept me updated and in the loop. And he said on this most recent email, he said, hey, guys, just got off the phone with the LECC, and they have assigned an investigator to my complaint and have marked it as extremely urgent. So I'll be very keen to see what happens with this, whether he's going to be charges are going to be laid, he's going to somehow weasel his way out of it, which should be basically impossible because, as you know, the average shooter like me, like you, we wouldn't be getting away with it. They'd already be on their doorstep taking your guns away and laying charges against you. We know that would be happening. So, it's not an excuse that he's now fallen foul of the same gun laws, all because of ignorance. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So he needs to pay the price. And hopefully he does change the law to represent that shooters of any kind can go out and get a permit and shoot these types of firearms. But we know that's not going to happen. He's just going to weasel his way out of it and make life easier for himself.
And if he does get prosecuted, and if he keeps his job, which I don't think he should keep his job, because that's you can't have criminals in Parliament, can you? Trying to tell us what to do. If he does, would he try and double down and, out of pure spite, make things difficult for the New South Wales shooting community?
This is the thing, when he's on there saying, well, he didn't know what he was doing. And, I mean, he's even admitted guilt, like I said there. I believe there was a mistake of fact. How can you have a mistake of fact? If you've handled a firearm without a license that you're not exempt for, you must lay charges. And if he doesn't get off, it's just hypocrisy. And honestly, I can see it no other way than they are protecting him. That would be corruption in my eyes. And I think the general community just would not accept that. And it's all over the internet now, and Brett's done a really good job getting out there, making him accountable and going and talking to all the media organisations, hence the reason why in less than 24 hours there's been probably about 12 or 13 articles. And it kind of surprises me because before I've interviewed Mark Latham, and Mark Latham was on 2GB yesterday with Ben Fordham and playing it down that the Greens, probably the first time in my life I actually agree with the Greens. I mean, we can't have one rule for police and one rule for everyone else. And he was bagging the Greens, which we know we don't like the Greens, of course, saying David Elliott's the best police minister, this is all a furphy, nothing's really been done wrong, what's the big deal? But when I interviewed him, he said he didn't want to change gun laws, we need to be strict. So this is where Mark Latham is very duplicitous in his opinion. 1 minute he wants strong gun laws, nothing to change and make things if not more difficult, if not keep them the same. Then on the next breath he's allowing a criminal act to go unpunished. I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't allow that. Full charges should be commenced straight away, and charges to the officer from Corrective Services that gave the gun to him when he shouldn't have been firing it and shouldn't have been doing it. If he changes the law to include everybody, I'm okay with that, but he still should be charged, because currently, under the law, that's what it is. So are they going to make exemptions that don't exist just to get him off because this is bad publicity for the Liberal Party in New South Wales?
Yep, exactly. And it wasn't just a semi-auto, it was saying it's a submachine gun, a full auto category R machine gun, literally.
Yep.
That's what they're calling it. So
as far as I'm aware, there's no permit for a prohibited firearm. So,
and up here in Queensland, I don't know about down there, if you even pick up a gun that you are not licensed for, you're in trouble. So if there's a Cat D out and there's a Cat D owner, but you pick that up, boom, license gone. And that's the way they perceive the law up here in Queensland. Can't even touch it. So, and here he is firing. And on a side note, you saw him in the picture holding the magazine instead of the front hand.
Put grip. That in the overlay that on the video, Alex. I think that'd be very good for people to see. I mean, this guy, don't forget, was apparently in the Defence Force. So, if that's the way he's holding firearms, actually, instead of holding it by the front hand or the lower grip, he's actually holding it by the magazine. And it is just terrible look. And
well, in the Defence Force, to me, he looks like a goddamn accountant. So maybe that's what he did in Defence Force. Nothing to do with the guns, I don't think. Yeah. So here's a follow-up article from yesterday. It's on the Gun Hub website. The New South Wales Police Minister, David Elliott, has today flagged that he will not stand down, despite the fact he is under criminal investigation. So he is under criminal investigation, and what he describes as an administrative breach. He was firing a fully automatic submachine gun without the appropriate license, which is illegal in New South Wales, even when supervised by an appropriately licensed person. Just goes on here. He believes he is a victim of all this. So is that our defence if we do something like this wrong? Oh, we're the victim. We didn't know. We're the victim.
Sorry, I've got a gun license. I just handled a, semi-automatic shotgun. Sorry, it's ignorance. I just didn't know. So all good, yeah? No, unfortunately not, Mr. Elliott. That's the biggest problem.
And then in the same breath, he says, if I have been found to have done something wrong, illegal or malicious, then I'll got to answer for that. Yeah, well, of course you do. So he's sort
But
of
it
saying,
doesn't
I'm
matter
the
about it
victim,
being
but if I've done it
malicious,
wrong,
though. This is the problem. It doesn't matter
yeah,
about being malicious, because we know many shooters that have, not maliciously, accidentally left, say, a 22 or a shotgun shell in the back of their hunting vehicle tray. And, the police, in some situations have had discretion to let them go. And in other situations, we hear about them all the time where they're in court over a 22 or a shotgun or a packet of shotgun shells in the back of the tray. That's not malicious. So, there's no way you can have discretion here. It's either is or it isn't, and
yeah,
it's not a box of ammo. We're talking about a fully automatic firearm here. Not a big deal. I think it's fantastic. Actually, if I could go and shoot one, I would myself if I could get the appropriate permits. But under the law, if you're going to make it difficult life for shooters, then what you do need to do is, you have to abide by the same laws yourself. So I'm sorry, charges should be laid sooner rather than later, so he can't start weaseling his way out of it. I've emailed the
exactly.
firearms registry asking for a bit of detail. Of course, looks like they've gone into hiding as well, which is just not surprising. Hopefully we get an answer back very soon, and we'll see what comes back from Brett and his LECC investigation there. It'll be very interesting.
And here's a good one. Here he turns into a complete and utter rat and a snitch. I'm concerned there could have been 200 people, with very prominent people, over the course of 2 commissioners who, like me, have been victims of a mistake. So now he's trying to get the light off him and throwing his co-workers underneath the bus, saying, oh, look, someone else did it, so why blame me? Other people have been doing it. Just like a little schoolyard rat, really, isn't he? Just
Yeah, not very good.
Yeah, he can't take responsibility for what he's done.
Anyway, we'll, I guess, follow up when we know a bit more detail. It should be very
Yeah,
interesting to see how this pans out, whether, they will take action. I think they'll be forced to take action. Obviously, you probably go to court, he won't get a criminal record, and it'll all be washed under the carpet as if, he's done nothing wrong. I'd like to see the law change, but I'm not stupid enough to think that he's going to change the law for me. Or the general shooting community. He'll either change some law that they're able to do it in the future, but of course the average person like me and you, we won't be able to do that. And obviously the Liberal Party in New South Wales is scrambling big time to try and do something, put cold water on all this. But I know a few guys in the industry that are playing up behind the scenes, and they're not letting it go at all. They're at the registry, they're emailing, they're writing to the LECC. It's getting pretty heavy. So we
yeah,
can't have one rule for one and one rule for shooters, Aaron. So
exactly. I'm sure they're being briefed right now in Parliament. If you're going to do this sort of stuff, don't let photos be taken of you. I bet you that's one of the first things they're getting
but then they'd
told.
be still committing criminal activity according to the current Firearms Act. So then
No,
they'd be on the dodge then. So, but
no, but remember, they're the victims. They're not a criminal. They're victims.
yeah, I know they're victims. Imagine the poor shooter. I mean, like I said, a shooter leaving something in the back of his car. Not a big deal,
22.
not malicious, but bang, charges get laid. Very overzealous to charge the law-abiding shooter, but now it's everyone else's fault but his. But anyway, we'll follow up, mate. Hopefully, people are really liking this content. Aaron's showing you a bunch of comments from people, which is just bloody awesome. Surprising how it's been so popular, and Aaron's got his channel back up and running. We've only got almost 4,000, and we're getting really good numbers on only 4,000 subscribers back on the new channel, Aaron. So that's good, man, for you.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Losing 12,500, got just under 4,000, and getting really good numbers, especially on these videos, and the amount of good positive comments saying you like this sort of format, you want to see more of it. So if you like it, we'll definitely be bringing a lot more each week to this sort of format. Also, once again, just tell us what you want us to talk about, and if you do have any articles or anything like this that has happened to you in the firearms industry, or anything done wrong by you, just make sure you got documentation to back it all up, so we do know it's all legit. We just can't.
If you see something too, like online that we maybe not have posted on our respective pages, send it into us just on, one of our, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be. Links, just send them on over, preferably Facebook or Australian Hunting Podcast at gmail.com, or Aaron's email, which will tell you in a minute. Just send it over to us, because we may not know about it. We may not have seen it. And that's how we come across the Seymour shotgun just the other day. One of these awesome people sent it in to us first, actually. And we were the first 2 crews to break the news on this ridiculous gun ban in Victoria. Yeah,
and other organisations are actually coming to us and pleading for any information from us and hand over all the documentation we got. So it's definitely been an interesting week, isn't it?
Yeah, not what we expected in social media, where two guys that work full time and got day jobs and just do this to bring content to you guys, bringing you it first before the major organisations, which is surprising to me. But just goes to show people having faith in the content to give it to us, and instead of giving it over to somebody else or an organisation, they're giving it over to us to have a chat about, which is fantastic. And the comments have been good. We're not just going to talk about politics. We're going to do stuff about firearms and long-range shooting and scopes, and just our experience on this as well. So we'll see how that pans out. But I think people do like the media content on what's happening in the industry and all the ridiculous stuff shooters have to put up with.
Well, it's finally good that that shooters aren't getting done for something, that it is finally a politician being charged with firearms charges, which is good. So it's definitely a positive story in my eyes.
Absolutely.
If a politician goes down for doing the wrong thing, that's a win-win situation, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I'd hopefully would change the law, but people are saying, shooters are saying we should change the law, and I agree with that. But they'll only change the law from them, not us. So unfortunately, the law is as it is right now. I always tell everyone to abide by the law as it stands right now until at such time we can change it. And he needs to abide by those exact same rules that we do. So I'm sorry, charges need to be laid now. There's no investigation, there's no paperwork for it. Charges, no exceptions. If not, then I could only really see in that as potentially moving towards corruption, which is just unacceptable.
Yep, I reckon if they do change the law, it'll be along the lines, if you're a government official in doing a role for work, you're exempt from everything. I bet you they'll change the law to something on those lines.
Yep. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Aaron, finish off.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, as Jason said, you can get a hold of us on our Instagrams, Facebooks, and email. Jason told you his email, mine's shootingstuffaustralia@gmail.com. But I'm usually a lot easier to get hold of through Facebook. Just send a message through Facebook under Shooting Stuff Australia, or even Instagram. So definitely, and hit the subscribe button of the channel, Shooting Stuff Australia, and also the like button, and subscribe to all our social networking.
Yep, don't forget, 200 likes, guys. Share the video. We want to get it out there, get the information out there. If you want to make a complaint to the LECC, you can simply go on the website. I've got it here, lecc.newsouthwales.gov.au. The LEC is the Law Enforcement Conduct Commission. So make a complaint, ring up the Minister's office, David Elliott's office, say it's not good enough, and ring up the Premier's office as well, Gladys Berejiklian, and say, well, when a charge is going to be laid, get the answers, and share this video far and wide.
Definitely. And I will also put this up on Facebook about a week after this comes out, so you can definitely get it out, because the videos go off when I put them on Facebook, a lot better than YouTube. So they will definitely spread the word on this. We can't let this just be buried. This is finally some sort of revenge, you could sort of say, for shooters.
Yeah. I mean, we'd like to see it change, but, we'll see what happens. We'll see what they come out with, but as it stands, it's wrong, and it should be punished.
Definitely. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning into this episode, and we'll definitely see you on the next one in about a week's time.